Hi. Okay, so I think Tiffany has posted a little bit about this called the Foundations for Success. So it's something that Darren Hardy put together, and it's what it is a lot of Jim Rohn's presentations and seminars and stuff that he's done in the past, and then they have different leaders like John Maxwell, who I think most of you know, Darren Hardy, John Maxwell, Brian Tracy, who's another good one.
He's the
Tony Robbins.
Eat That Frog.
Yeah, Eat That Frog is Brian Tracy. Tony Robbins, who's worldwide known guy, and then Mark Victor Hansen, who's the Chicken Soup for the Soul guy. And then they have some other few people that I've never heard of them before. But so what they do is they all introduce a section of it. There's 10 different sections, and they go over like 10 of the foundations, basically, that Jim Rohn felt like were the foundations for success.
Because he was all their mentor. Like they all learned from him.
Yeah. And so what they did is they compiled a lot of his seminars and whatnot, and then kind of created this training thing off of it. And it's all online, so you sign up and you have an account online. So once you purchase it, you've got access to it forever. And I think there's like 40 hours, if I remember right, worth of material on there. And there's a workbook that goes along with it. And so far it's awesome. We really like it. So for any of you, I know a lot of you guys like Darren Hardy, and so much of what Darren Hardy talks about goes back to his mentor, Jim Rohn. So if you like Darren Hardy, then you'll probably like this too. And Tiffany and I were talking about this. Like, Dani Johnson is great, and we like her, and she talks about stuff that's very specific to network marketing in our business. So it's really helpful to go to her seminars, and it's awesome. But for some people, it's limiting because of the expense and the time of flying out there, finding hotel, and paying for the seminar and all that kind of stuff. And so, if that's holding you back, then maybe look into this Foundations course, because we've really liked it. So we're on Module 1 right now, and what it is talking about is philosophy. So your foundational philosophy, what beliefs that you have, is going to be the key to your success. So he talks about the main emphasis is he says, and he repeats this over and over, but there's about a half a dozen things that you can do that will make 80% of the difference of whether you're successful or not. So in everything you do, in your health and fitness, in your marriage, in if you're a manager of something, in relationships with spouse, with kids, anything, he said there's usually about a half dozen things that if you do right and do consistently, then it will make 80% of the difference in whether you're successful or not. And so looking at that Beachbody wise, we've already been taught what those few things are, so you don't need to spend time figuring out what those half dozen things are. We already know what they are. They're, the 3 vital behaviors. If you know and understand those few concepts right there, and you do them consistently, you don't neglect to do them every day, that's going to lead you to be successful. Now, granted, there's that other 20% that, you've got to be able to learn how to, present a good story, and, be marketable, and learn how to, run social media and that type of stuff. That's important. But if you can master these few different principles, then you'll be good. So one of the things he talks about or one of the quotes that I really liked, he said, if you could and you should, if you could and you should, but you don't, he said, that's the formula for disaster. So if you could do something and you should do something, but you don't do it, that's going to lead you down the wrong path. So knowing and understanding what you should do, and then routinely doing that day after day. So it's kind of like the compound effect, same idea there. Let's see. So I want to go back. Some of the things that, right. So neglect is one of the big things that he's talked about. So if you start, he talks about this kind of in like your whole life. If you start to neglect finances. If you neglect your finances, then pretty soon you're going to start neglecting your health. When you neglect your health, then pretty soon you'll start to neglect, your marriage or your kids, or you'll start to neglect your work. And it's just kind of a downhill slope from there. So learning how to master these concepts, not neglect any area of your life, and just continually progressing, that'll lead you to success. He said to attract success, you have to become an attractive person. And one of the things that Jim Rohn said, that when he was working with his mentor, so he went from being 20, he said he was 25 years old, he was broke, he knew he wanted more out of his life, and so he worked with this, he got a job working for this guy who became his mentor, and that's where his whole life changed for them. He said his secret to becoming a millionaire was from the time that he was 25 to 31. Okay, 31 is when he became a millionaire. So from the time he was 25 to 31, those 5 years or 6 years, he did not neglect to do the small things. He said basically that's it. Those were my keys to becoming successful. Hold on, I was going somewhere with that, and then I lost my train of thought. Oh, so he said, right, to attract success, you have to be an attractive person. So, my mind's going blank.
So that success is something you attract by the person you become?
No, okay. So his mentor said, there it is. So his mentor said, do you want to be a millionaire? And Jim was like, well, yeah, that sounds good. I'd like to be a millionaire. That has a good ring to it. I'd like to do that. And so his mentor told him, I want you to become a millionaire, but not because of the money, or not because of, the financial part of it. But he said, I want you to become a millionaire because of what it will make of you. So that whole process of becoming is the key to this first module is you have to become. And he said, once you become a millionaire, you can give that money away because it doesn't matter, because of what you've become in that whole process of learning yourself and understanding who you are, and learning those processes of the small things of day after day of doing those. And that's how you become a successful person, is by changing yourself. He said you can earn, an academic education will get you a job, but self-education will, what does he say?
Make you a fortune.
Make you a fortune. Okay, so you can earn a wage, or you can earn profits. He said he went from earning wages, which working hour after hour, you can earn a wage, or you can earn profits. And when you become more able to better yourself and become yourself, and that's when you're going to start earning wages. You earn what you're worth. He talks about you can't. He always complained before, like, man, I just don't make enough money. They don't pay me enough, or and his mentor told him, well, they're paying you what you're worth. Like, the problem is you're just not worth very much. And he was like, oh man, that kind of hurts. But, once you become more yourself, you become more valuable, you become more attractive, then more people come to you because they want to learn from you. They want to become more like you. And so there's 3 things, right, that he talks about for life change. So I want you guys to write these down if you can. So his 3 things, his 3 rules for life change. So 1 is clean up all the neglect in your life. So what are those things that you should do, and you could do them, but you're not doing them? Okay, so what are those few things that you're neglecting to do right now, and clean those up? Number 2 is find out the half a dozen things that are going to make the difference of whether you're successful or not. Okay, in everything that you do, there's a half a dozen things, usually. And then the 3rd thing is don't neglect to do those half a dozen things. Okay, it's simple. So much of what he talks about is so simple. He said, people spend so much time and effort trying to figure out the 500 different things that they could be doing to make themselves successful. And he's like, you know what? I only got, what do you say? He stopped his education when he was 19 years old. And he was like, you know what?
He went to 1 year of college or something.
Yeah, 1 year of college. And he was like, you know what? If there's 500 different things out there, then count me out. He's like, that's way over the top for me. I can't do that. But if there's, half a dozen things, you know what? I can do that. And I can be successful if I can figure out what those half dozen things are and do them repeatedly, then you're going to be successful. Okay. Right. So he talks about like, the problem is not a lack of information. There's so much information. There's so much stuff out there. If you go out on YouTube and, there's so much training and so much information and articles and videos and stuff that you can be doing to occupy your time when you're supposed to be working. There's so much stuff there. So the problem is not a lack of information. There's not a lack of anything out there right now. The problem is that there's not enough action. There's too much stuff that's been given to us and handed to us. Too much learning going on, not enough action. What's easy to do is also easy not to do. So he talks about the old phrase of an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? So people know that, they understand that, but they don't do it. So there's that difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it. He says there's people will look at that timeless truth, right? The timeless truths, the things that are going to make us successful, those things don't change. So an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? You're eating healthy keeps the doctor away. But some people will either neglect to do that, or they'll think that the truth is wrong. They'll change it to, a Snickers a day or a Hershey's bar a day. That's what's going to, keep you healthy right there. Or, got to have my 32 ounce soda or, whatever. That's going to make me. So it's what's easy to do is easy not to do.
I think that was most of what you wanted to share.
Anything else you wanted to share from them?
No. There's this quote's kind of good. What's easy to do is also easy not to do. That's the difference between success and failure. That's the difference between pennies and fortune. That's the difference in flourishing and not having much. That's the difference between trinkets and treasures. So this is all, all stuff we've heard. And he says, just like Tyler said, it's not a lack of information. Personal development really is to remind us of what works, because we forget or we get lazy or we get, it's like us with paying off our debt. We'll do really well, and then time goes on and we're like, oh, we kind of want to buy this or want to buy that, and you get off track. Same with our fitness, right? My eating. I know what to do. I just don't do it all the time. So anyway.
So I had one other thing. So what he talks about is the wind blows on everybody, right? So if you're out sailing or on a boat, the wind is constantly blowing, and the 90% of the people will let themselves get blown by the wind. They'll go wherever the wind takes them, and then they're unhappy about where they end up when they get there, and they'll complain about life took me this way, or the winds blew me this way, or if it weren't for, the economy, or if, my friends or neighbors were more helpful, or, if it weren't for those, Democrats or those Republicans, life would be better, whatever. But he's like, that same wind blows on the 10% of people that are successful. The difference is those 10% of the people know how to direct their sails, and they set their sails so that when the wind blows, it's taking them in the direction that they want to go. And, the next 5 years in our business, the next 5 years are going to pass by. And whether, we're successful in those next 5 years or we're not, that time is still going to go by. We're still going to be, every one of us are going to be 5 years down the road. But whether we set those sails for ourselves to be successful or not is all up to us. And that was one of the things that I really liked was, we're going to be here. Like, you know, all of us are going to be here. We're going to be running this business. All of us are going to, you know, we have the same products, same business, same everything. But are we going to set our sails to take us to the place that we want to go, or are we just going to let circumstances direct where we end up? And I think that's the biggest key is taking that responsibility ourselves and understanding that I'm responsible for my own growth, and I'm responsible for my business, and I'm responsible for you know, where I'm headed and which direction I'm going to go. And you know, it's not dependent on anybody or anybody else. You know, it's not dependent on circumstances. So one of the things that, like when I've been doing these coach calls, one of the questions that's come up is finding out what your story is and how to present that on social media so that you can, you know, kind of stand out. How can you get engagement? How can you, you know, get people following you, commenting and stuff? And a lot of that comes back to just understanding what your Beachbody story is. And so one of the things that we wanted to just talk about real quick is if that's a struggle for you, if you feel like you're needing help with understanding what your story is and how to present that, then make out a list of all the different roles that you have, all the different hats that you wear, you know, whether that's, you know, a mother, a spouse, a husband, a teacher, a friend, a neighbor, brother, sister, you know, whatever it is, whatever type of hats you wear, write out a big long list and brainstorm about all those different areas. And then once you have that list, understanding what difference Beachbody has made for you in those different areas. So take each one individually and look back on your life before Beachbody and now, and compare and contrast those two versus, you know, look at them, you know, how has Beachbody changed, you know, my relationship with my spouse, or how has it changed, you know, my relationships with people at work, or my attitudes towards work, or, you know, how has it changed my finances, you know, anything like that. But really spend a lot of time thinking in detail. And even if it seems like you're going to have a huge list, just put it all out there and just brain dump all of that information out so that you have all that stuff in front of you on a paper. And then just think about how you can be open, and how open you are is up to you. You know, how vulnerable you want to be on social media and, you know, out there is up to you. Some people are more comfortable with it than others, but the more open you are and the more vulnerable you are, the more people can relate to you. So present that story of what's changed before and until now. Be vulnerable about it and share that with your followers. And as you know, as you do that more and more, hopefully you'll get more engagement with people commenting, and then you can kind of find out what it is that people like. Like on Tiffany's page, she's tried different things, and people don't really respond very much when she shares about family, right?
Well, if it's about a problem, right? People love to hear about struggles. So if it's a problem or a struggle with like Cameron, then yes. But if I'm like, here's a picture of me and my kids today, people are like, that's nice. Like they don't care. Whereas I think on Megan's page, they love that. Like her followers love that. Mine do not. They don't care about my family. They don't care about really my personal life. They want to see videos and instructional videos, not just my workout of the day and what I did, but like where I say, do this many sets of this many sets of that. This is an arm workout. This is a leg workout. These are some ab exercises. That by far is the most. So I have to do more of that, even though that's not what I want to be doing. I'm always like, oh, I don't want to do one more freaking video, but that's what's seen and that's what people want. So that's what I will give the people.
Right. Yeah. So find out, you know, do your research, find out what gets engagement, what does not, and do more of what gets engagement. Right. Yeah.
And just sharing struggles. The more, and I know some people are just like, I'm not willing to share X, Y, and Z, but honestly, those are, and you guys probably know, those are your best, at least for me, my best response to posts is me being real about Tyler and I. And Tyler's a pretty private person. And I'm like, suck it up, Buttercup. I don't care. Like, I'm not private. Yeah, I'm not a private person, and the whole world knows my struggles. And so, yeah, sharing your struggles, and even if it's things that are really hard to talk about, that's where it's at for most people. Anyway.
You want to share that video?
Oh, we looked up a video of how to share your story. We YouTubed, right? That's what I send most people. That Caleb Thomas has a really good video about sharing your Beachbody story. So if any of your coaches, we were going to play it on here, but the person or a couple people who asked for us to talk about this aren't on here. So if you just YouTube Caleb Thomas's video called How to Share Your Story as a Beachbody Coach, he's entertaining. It's like 2 minutes. It's a really good one to share with any of your coaches who are having a hard time understanding how to share their story or what their story is, or defining it. Because really, as you guys know, as coaches, you have to stick out. And the only way you stick out is to be vulnerable. So anyway, that's a good video to send to your coaches. Anything of his is actually pretty good. Anybody have anything you guys want to talk about, or struggles you're having, or anything like that?
Any successes you want to talk about?
Success is a good thing to focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah, my team of coaches is really starting to get actively engaged, which is making me happy. This time of year, I've kind of like, I'm going to move away from the TV because it's not loud. I've really pushed the whole, you guys need to be planting seeds right now, instead of, oh, this is a slump this time of year, that attitude. And I think that it's really helping a lot of people to catch on, and they're seeing me do it, and just kind of sharing that with them. But I know I was kind of messaging Tiffany, you and Megan this morning about the Power of Threes thing, and I'll look it up. She actually pointed me in the right direction. I just didn't know if anyone had any experience with tracking that way, because the business activity tracker drives me nuts. Like, it's too detailed for me. It's too I
think they overcomplicated it. It's too much.
Yeah. It's like
the Power of Threes is the thing that Megan put together. Is that right?
Yeah.
Like simplified.
Another coach. Yeah. But it focuses more on building relationships, which is what we focus on. But, I personally struggle with tracking that kind of stuff. And my coaches are too. And that business activity tracker is just it's all business. It's like, how many invites, and so I need to go find that and then share that with my team, because I think that it'll really help them, especially since I'm really encouraging them to build relationships from the ground up. Success, I have a sneak peek into coaching right now. Bless you. I invited 20 people and 12 people accepted. I've never had that many ever. And it's because I took the time to go back and actually build the relationships and ask them questions about their life. And it took me 2-3 weeks. And then I finally was just hey, I thought of you for this. And they're like, yeah, sure. So it works. It just takes time, and I don't know if they'll become coaches, but trying to explain that to my team and just being oh my gosh, you guys, 20 people and 12 people accept. That's huge. That's huge. For me, that's personally very huge. I've never had that many people accept, so I'm just really stepping back and focusing on the relationships, still inviting. I hit Success Club 10. I was having some crazy months where I was hitting 28 and stuff like that. But I've learned, yeah, that was cool. That was fun. But it's not where my happiness is. It's not where my happiness is connecting with people. So that's what I'm relaying to my team. And I realize I'll probably have slower growth because of that. But honestly, my husband's reminded me of, you have to do this business in a way that makes you happy. And
actually, Heather, I would probably say that that's not true, because if you think about it, if you're working with 14 people, if you have Success Club 28, let's say 15 people, that's a lot of people to try to keep track of, to care about, to be personal with. And a lot of people end up slipping through the cracks simply because it's hard to keep up with that many people. So I would argue that you're just working on a smaller scale. You're working with 5 people instead of 15 or whatever the number is, and helping those people more intimately. You're building relationships more. I actually think it's better because there's some coaches, I know Melanie Mitro, Amy Silverman have months where they recruit 60 people to their teams. And it's all systemized, right? They have training that they go through. They will not talk to you until you're an Emerald. I know that for a fact. They will not talk. They don't give their personal time until their coaches hit Emerald. So while that's the way they do it, that's whatever, that floats their boat. That I'm the same way. That would not bring me happiness. That would stress me out. And I, like, even when I have 5 coaches all start at a similar time, that stresses me out because I feel like I can't give everybody attention. I can't get on the phone with everyone, and people still fall through the cracks. So can you imagine if you're working with 50 people or 20 people or, you know, even 10 people, how many people fall through the cracks because of that? So I don't know if it's necessarily slower growth.
Well, and I know there's like focus on volume. So like I would love to have at least 4 out of 5 people that I work with become coaches. Like, I know that's kind of a high goal, but in my mind, I feel like if the relationship's there and at some point they may be ready.
Right.
Like the people that I message and they fall through the cracks and I'm sitting here going, oh my God, what did I, you know, and we all still do that. Like what did I do wrong? Like I still, 2 years later, I'm still like, did I do something? Maybe I'm the only one. I don't know.
No, but 4 years later, I still do that.
I don't like it. I don't like that feeling. And I want, like you said, I want quality of people and I want to talk to people and I want to know about life. And that's what I'm teaching my coaches to do. And I think that that's giving them the staying power, even if they're not hitting Success Club like the first. I mean, I definitely have my goal-oriented coaches, my rubies, who want to, you know, get Success Starter. But one of those things where I'm just really encouraging them to still invite, but, you know, kind of start from square one and just start listening. Be a friend. Like that's be a friend.
That's a huge deal. And I think back to when I was a brand new coach and it took me 3 months to get Success Club. Kelly couldn't even talk to me about what Success Club was because it just stressed me out. So she broke it down for me and said, okay, here's the 5-step process. Here is how you talk to people. And I still didn't listen all the way, but like I needed it broken down for where I was. And I did not start this business as a go-getter. I was not a Jessie who was just like, I'm going to kill this and I'm getting Success Club 20 and I'm going to be a diamond. And I was like, I don't even know what diamond is. Don't talk to me about it. Like that's stressful. So you have to remember that everyone is on a different level and a different, they're all different personalities. They're all have different needs, different fears. And that relationship is huge. And that's something I've learned over the years is the people that my relationships are the best with are usually my best coaches. Not always true, but the ones that I have really good relationships with are the ones that we're friends first. And we're good friends. And that's something I've had to learn for sure. That was not something I understood even a year ago.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same. And they're the loyal Shakeology people too. Shakeology customers.
Right. Yeah. It's all about relationships. We can get skipping ahead too far, too anxious or chasing the shiny object. Right.
Yeah.
The yacht what's the one now he's doing the yacht at Leadership. It's like the top 10 people who get the highest Success Club points, I think, get to go on a yacht. And I'm like, I'm not chasing the shiny object.
Be on a yacht. I want to be on a yacht on my terms. There you go.
Exactly. And probably not with Carl Deichler. Like he wouldn't be my first choice.
Okay. I guess that was my success. Like when I talked a couple weeks ago about maybe going back and really creating relationships with people I kind of like burned a bridge with because I was jumping down their throats when I first started coaching, now are like, you know, there's something there. And I'm so glad I went back and took the time to do that because it just gives me goosebumps. Like that's what makes me happy, you know, like having that relationship and having a friendship and having people in my life who kind of see things the same way I see them. So,
right.
And I know you guys are paying off debt. We are too, you know, and I have friends that want to pay off debt and it's so exciting to like present this opportunity in that way and be like, we're using this opportunity to pay down debt, you know, like come with us. It's fun. It's, you know, so
awesome.
Anyhow, that's my success. I kind of yammered, but you know.
Carrie or Darla, do you guys have anything you guys want to chat about? Darla says no.
Yeah, not really.
Okay. That's okay. We don't have to sit here for longer than we need to. So, do you have anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that Caleb Thomas video would be good for your coaches to watch if they're struggling with that. That's when I kind of was like, oh, I should add that to the training that we're going to be redoing. So, anyway.
Hey, Tyler, how much was that foundation thing?
It's $495.
It's 10 weeks, right? 10 weeks. And they send you in, or like there's 10 modules and there's a new module every week. And like this, so the first module had 5 videos. Yeah.
So there's the introductory video by the whoever they've assigned to introduce it. Like this one was Mark Victor Hansen, who's the chicken soup guy. So he does like an introductory video, and then there's 4 other videos that go along with it that are clips from a Jim Rohn seminar that he's done.
And then they give you the downloads too, which is nice because we put them on our phones so that we can listen in the car. And that's something he says is make your car a mobile classroom. So we put them all on our phones so we can listen while we're driving.
Yeah, I'm just never in the car anymore. If I am, it's like for 3 minutes tops.
Really?
Everywhere I go is 3 minutes away, so it's just.
That'd be nice.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So I meant to get on that. I meant to get on that call last Tuesday, and I just did not.
They might still have it available.
I think it was only for like 3 days or 5 days. I don't know. I have all the emails, so I'll go back and
check and see if it is.
I bet you can probably still find it because it was really nice and very informative, and it kind of turned out to be like an hour-long infomercial.
Yeah, that's what
we were selling the course, basically.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay.
They did a good job selling it, though. We bought it.
Right. But if you think about it, I mean, Danny Johnson is great, and she talks about stuff that's very specific to network marketing, so it's different than this foundations class. But foundations, I mean, we paid $495, and both Tiffany and I use it. So it's, $250 per person. It's a lot cheaper.
Well, we don't have to go, and we can do it. Like, I've been waking up early and just doing as much of the module as I can. And then he says, like, re-listen to them at least 2 other times during the week. So I don't know, for people that don't want to go to an actual event, or it's too expensive to pay for the seminar plus the hotel plus the plane ticket, it's expensive. Danny Johnson for us is easily $1,000 just for one plane ticket, one person to go, one hotel room. It's expensive. This one was obviously more doable for people who don't want to travel.
I think the only problem is with live events, they're nice because you have a lot more interaction and there's just a different feeling with people there. And so, and you're there. I mean, you're stuck in the classroom and you're taking notes. And so, I think there's something to be said about going to live events. They are very helpful and inspiring. So if you get a chance to go to a Danny Johnson, I definitely recommend it. The downside to the foundations class is, like Jim Rohn says, it's easy to be successful and it's easy to do these things, but it's also easy not to do them. So
except you're paying $500, so it's like I'm like, oh, we're doing the class because we paid $500. So that's why they make them cost more than $20. Because if it was $20, I wouldn't wake up at 5:30. I'd be like, oh shoot, that was a trip to the health food store and to buy one thing. So no, it's good. I know part of the problem too, like I love Darren Hardy, but he doesn't do live stuff. You have to like pay for him privately. And I think Tony Robbins, a lot of coaches go to his events. I've never looked him up to see when his events are or how much they are. But we looked up who else did we look up that was like $2,000 to go to?
Bo Eason.
Oh, Bo Eason.
Yeah.
Summer and her husband, I don't think they actually ended up going. I think they ended up canceling, but he was like $2,000.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of coaches in Atlanta that do the Bo Eason thing because he really does train you on how to develop that story and to tell it like he tells his story. So yeah, but I'm not paying.
Yeah, and especially like for people who are really starting to get more serious about personal development and like making this a full-on business, because someone that's doing this as a hobby is not going to pay. They're not even doing their personal development, right? It's like they're lucky if they get a page read a day or something. But for people who really want this to turn into something bigger in life, you have to start going to this stuff, because this business, it's hard. And it's tiring, and it's not always fun. And I mean, Tyler hears my end of things where sometimes I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do this today, you know, or it's hard. And yeah, you don't hear about that part from anybody. We all are like, it's so fun, we love what we do, but you don't hear about the parts that are really discouraging and depressing and things that are tough, you know, the failures that we go through to figure it all out. So
Maybe the story, that's part of the story I need to start sharing, and I share it with my team, but you know, maybe with people who are even in the sneak peek, like, I've shared to an extent, but I mean, you got to have thick skin. It's true, it really is.
And you have to you, like Heather, you of all people, you like persevere, man. Megan and I have talked about you. We're like, man, if we were Heather, we don't think we'd still be here. Like all the struggles, you like the personal stuff in your mind you've gone through, and like you figuring it all out. Like most people wouldn't be here still, right? I mean, if you think about it, most people would have thrown in the towel.
Well, that's why I had a very rough childhood to thank. I'm glad I had a rough childhood, because I can pretty much like BS my way through anything. So,
well, that's what one of the quotes from this seminar thing said. When all else fails, perseverance wins. Basically, like if you're just failing your way there, trying to figure it out, you sticking around is going to be success in the future. It just might take longer, right? If you've had more hurdles to go over or personal things you've been going through, but yeah, I think it definitely, this is not, and that's something I tell people, like, this is not money overnight. This is not get rich quick, which is funny because we preach that, but then we get frustrated when it doesn't happen. You know, like we're like, oh, we just want to be making this amount of money, or we want to be a 5-star diamond or a 1-star diamond or whatever. And we preach and preach like this isn't get rich quick, but then we're like, dang, I've been doing this for this long. Why am I not a millionaire yet? You know? So, yeah, it's a learning process. And if there's anything, you guys know in our group, I'm like obsessive with personal development. That's my answer for everything, because truly without it, I don't even know what would have happened this last year. I'd still be in my funk. I'd still be like, I don't even know. Like I was going so backwards because I didn't know how to go forwards, because I wasn't doing what was what I preached, what I knew I was supposed to be doing. I wasn't doing.
Yeah, I was taking it in. Like I would read personal development books, but I just read so many of them, and I finally have gotten to the point where I have my couple favorites that I just read or listen to over and over and over. And that book that Becky, who did the wake up call yesterday,
Brissé, or however you say her name.
Yeah, it's for why I don't remember who wrote that, but I want that book because I think that would be a really good. That's something I think I need to. Like kind of, because it has to do with your story, and I have some coaches kind of struggling with that. So I'm going to show
What was that, Heather?
Yeah.
What was it? What was the book? I didn't listen, obviously.
I didn't either yet.
It's Why. I can't remember, but it's called It Starts With Why. And a couple of other my friends I've seen have read it, and they really have liked it. So it looks like to be a good book, at least for developing your story and your reason. And she said she shares it in her challenge group. She has them read it. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something we've learned too is, you know, you just got to become a master at a few things, not try to do too much. Like Tyler was saying, like, you don't have to read every personal development book out there or go to every person that has a live event, or, you know, like don't spread yourself too thin and become a master at like a few different things, not 100. Yeah. So find someone that speaks to you, which is why, you know, we love Danny Johnson. But I know a ton of people that we work with in this group love Darren Hardy. And I'm like, he's put this whole thing together. It's way cheaper. So maybe people would be more, it would be something people are open to versus traveling to go see Danny, who doesn't really speak to them in the first place like she does for me or Tyler. So, but this one's awesome. Like I think in the first module alone, I have 12 pages of notes. And just in their introduction hour-long video, I don't remember how many notes I had, several pages of notes. And I have to push pause like constantly because I'm like, oh, that's so good. I have to write that down. So definitely something we'll be listening to long term for sure.
Is the author. The guy that spoke at Summit this year. I think that's
Simon Sinek. That's what I was gonna say. I got the book. It's a guy that was a speaker at Summit.
Okay.
I am a couple chapters in, but that's all. I started reading How to Win Friends and Influence People, and so I kind of put this one down. But it is good. I like it.
okay.
Is that the same that you were talking about, Heather?
Yeah, that's the book. Yeah,
Start
she
with
has.
why?
It starts with why?
Because he has that TED Talk, and there's one that he does. It's called Start with Why, and that's what Jeff actually knew about him. Last Christmas, Jeff told me about him, and it was right before they announced that he would be the speaker at Summit. So when I told Jeff he was going to be the speaker, he was thinking about coming too because he wanted to.
Yeah, you should have brought him in, or he should have come with.
Yeah. Another book, I haven't listened to the call yet either, but two of my coaches said she talked about Power of Self-Discipline by Brian Tracy, and they're ordering the audio of that, and they're going to listen to it. So they were asking other people on my team if they wanted to join them for that one. I told them I'm already listening to Six Figures and reading this book and the Win Friends book. So I said I can't get into any more.
Yeah.
That's the rule I made for myself. I'm like, I have to do this before I get anything else. But they talk in these seminars too about like building your library, like build your library full of stuff you can be listening to all the time. And I always like felt guilty listening to stuff in the car until I was like, as if we actually had Cameron, our oldest, who really struggles with just confidence and lots of different stuff, listening to the foundations. Tyler, did you put him on his iPod?
No, I just had him listen to it on my phone, and
He took notes.
He kept begging he was like, I don't have any books to read. I've already read them. I need to go to the library, get some more books. I don't have anything to do. And I was like, here, listen to this.
He took like 2 pages of notes. And like, it was cute. And I'm like, gosh, could we really be filling our kids with anything better than this? Like,
doesn't John Maxwell have that whole kids series or something?
Does he?
He does.
Yeah.
Because he talked about that at Summit, how he started reading personal development when he was a teenager or a kid. So
yeah.
Right.
I wanted to get that.
Oh, go what, Darla?
I wanted to get that list because I think he said he had a list, and he paid his kids to read those books.
That's such a good idea.
I know. So I wanted to do that. My boys they're usually talking and not paying attention, but when I listen to Six Figures, and when I took them to soccer, I'm like Carrie, I'm hardly ever in the car. And, but yesterday we went to soccer practice, and they're like, do we have to keep listening to this? And then they were like, we were almost in, they said, I think it's almost over. And I'm like, I'm the 6th or 7th DVD. So I'm like, or CD. I'm like, no, I didn't tell them that.
And when it's over, we're starting over again, kids.
Yeah.
Cameron is cute though. He's like, I'm a ruby, and Mom, I'm an emerald. I'm like, yeah, you are an emerald. You have the cleanest drawers. The other day we had our kids clean out their drawers because they were ridiculous. And he was done in like 3 minutes because he's an emerald. And his drawers are all neatly folded in the clothes. And I'm like, see, to my other kids, I'm like, if you keep them clean, then you don't have to spend an hour and a half cleaning them out. Cameron only had to spend 5 minutes. But true, I think Jim Rohn says in his stuff too that he worked a ton with teenagers because he's like, that's when you have to start learning this stuff. We're like 30s and 40s learning this crap. And if I would have been doing this as a kid instead of freaking TV and whatever else I wasted my life doing, I'm like, man, how much further along and more successful would I have been earlier if I would have learned these kinds of things back in the day? So I don't feel bad anymore making my kids listen to it. And Cameron, he loved it. He's like, I want to go to Danny Johnson. I was like, and there are people that bring their kids. I guess there's nothing better we could be filling their minds with. I mean, it beats video games or SpongeBob. So anyway, okay, you guys, somehow we went over 25 more minutes after I was like, okay, we're done. But yeah, let's chat in the group this week, and September is over. So for people who are going to be watching this later and have struggled with, Success Club this month, it's like, move on, right? It doesn't matter. Carrie learned that, right? Like a year ago, missing 1 month of Success Club is not going to.
I still don't have it this month. I'm still at 4. Like, it's driving me crazy.
Oh, that's annoying to be at 4, especially.
Yeah. I mean, I have people I'm talking to, so just.
Yeah. It's one of those things, though, where it's like, sometimes I wish they did over a whole period of a year how many you have or something, rather than month to month to month. But it is
well, not even that. You know, I'm trying to earn money for the cruise too. So it's like,
yeah,
I need all these Success Club points. But you know, whatever. Do what you can do. And
yep, you just keep doing it. And sometimes it happens, and sometimes it doesn't. It's not worth being in the dumps about it for days and days and days because you missed 1 month. It's like, move on. All right, you guys. We'll talk. Oh, go ahead.
I posted in the group the Power of Threes, like a worksheet, and then there's a video at the bottom. It's like super simple to follow. That's one of the things that we talked about at the 3 Vital Behaviors workshop that I went to, and it's something that I've been planning on sharing with my coaches that didn't go. So, anyway, I shared that in the group.
Yeah, thank you.
I remember seeing that in the that Google Drive, the Dropbox thing that I put together. So it's in there too if you guys have access to it.
cool.
Okay, awesome. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Bye.